everyone. It is May, and we are excited to be back for another episode with our Fueling Family and Teacher Partnerships and our work with Keep Indiana Learning. We can't thank them enough for allowing us this platform to really connect with all of you. It's been an amazing season. This is our last episode of this school year, so we hope to be back in the fall and maybe offering a new theme, right? This was all about AI, and I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed looking at each of these topics through the lens of AI, and this was a really fun one to put together. So let's get started. I am talking from the family and student perspective, K-12, just like I usually would. And so I wanted to share some things as I was thinking about what moving into the summer months looks like, especially students, right? We want them to keep learning. We want them to be lifelong learners. But what are some things that we can do maybe as teachers to make sure that they are prepared for the summer and continuing to learn? So if we go back just one slide, I'll talk through this. It's okay, Jonathan. It's our last episode. We've made it this far. So I just was thinking, oh, wow, wouldn't it be great, since students have access to Magic School over the summer, if teachers could set up these rooms? Because the great thing about Magic School is students don't access unless they're invited by teachers. So wouldn't it be great if their teachers could set up maybe one final room for them to use over the summer, just to kind of boost some of their creative thinking and continue to promote that lifelong learning? So there are so many different tools that students could use. These are the ones that first came to mind as I was looking. So a custom chatbot, right? Students can create a chatbot about coding. They can create a weather chatbot. Just some really cool use cases for that. Book suggestions, like maybe they are super into the Harry Potter series and they want to know what else is out there for them, what they should be checking out online as an audiobook or in person at the library. And then we have students of all ages who are constantly curious about careers and colleges and different experiences. So why not have a bot that they can talk to and ask those questions and find out more information? Language learning, summer is a great time to spend some time every day exploring a new language. And the art of writing a thank you note, right? I know how I feel when I get a handwritten note or a card in the mail. Some of our students may be graduating and receiving gifts or going through some other really cool celebration, and maybe this thank you note generator can help them. Image generator is always fun, right? Come up with an image that represents your favorite day of summer so far, and then the tutor me with AI, right? If kids are curious all the time about things. And that's the great thing about everybody kind of being a scientist, right? When you're curious about something, you're a scientist, and you have a question about something you've seen in nature. So I thought the Tutor Me with AI was awesome. And then Raina for students, right? That's the chat bot where they can chat back and forth, ask questions, get ideas. And if we move on to the next slide, I just had a couple of examples of how this could look for students, right? We have students that have all kinds of different interests. We have the nature lovers, right? So I just typed in, I'm a student, I love nature, give me some ideas for things I can do over the summer. And it gave me some great ideas. And then I could have continued prompting back and forth on specific details, or what could this activity look like? And then I thought about, oh, you're the gamer, right? You love to get in on a good game or play online with your friends. And there were some really great activity ideas that were like putting tech and nature together, or creative projects, designing your own game, coding your own video game. So some really cool things that I think would get kids thinking about some fun adventures that they could have over the summer. So Jonathan, I'm going to send it over to you.
Awesome. I love those ideas. I think I have too many tabs open, and that's why things are lagging. If you're in May with too many tabs, you're right there with me. Love the gamer ideas there. It was exciting to read the geocaching and all of those different ideas that were listed. I'm going to think from the teacher lens today, and I also put in some fun things that are important to me in the summer. And of course, these all can be changed or edited to be more geared towards your interests as well. So I'm just going to share some prompts with you of ways that we can support developing over the summer through some learning plans, ways that we can establish some summer fun. And then lastly, making the most of those summer hobbies, because for some of us, that's the only time of year that we really get to engage in our hobbies is during the summer. So as we move into developing summer plans, I just thought about some really important topics that educators might have front of mind as they go into summer and as they're thinking about moving into next year. And AI is one of those big topics. It's something everyone's talking about. It's something everybody's trying to figure out, and also just get more proficient in using and finding use cases for. So here was a prompt. Again, make edits to this to make it really focus on what your needs are, but give me a 60-day summer learning plan that will increase my proficiency with AI use as it relates to teaching an elementary classroom. And when I did that, it gave me just a list of things over a 60-day period that I could really consume and think about. And then it gave me also ways that I could practice using AI and fixing my prompts to get what I needed. As we think about UDL, Universal Design for Learning, I know there's always room for improvement in this area. We can constantly be thinking about different ways to support our learners and scaffolding them. So an example prompt might be evaluate my lesson plans or slide decks, and you can upload those right to whatever you're using and say provide feedback on how to position my materials or plans to support all learners through UDL. And then lastly, I know lots of districts and lots of teachers are experiencing students that come learning English for the first time. And it's really exciting that they get to be multilingual learners inside your classroom. But sometimes it can be difficult to know how to support them. So one way that you could get a leg up this summer is you could write a prompt like, I teach third grade and have many students that speak Haitian Creole. Create a summer learning plan with specific Haitian Creole words with English translations that would support my multilingual learners. And it gave me some very basic words that I could learn, some basic directions that I thought would be incredibly useful if I took the time to actually do that this summer. Also, we know that we like to get out with our families, get out with our kids potentially. And so I came up with a couple of prompts that you could use as you're planning for an outing with your family. One of the things that I like to do is go to the zoo with cousins and little ones in my family. And sometimes you go to the zoo multiple times during the summer and you just want to change it up a little bit. And so I thought of the idea of writing a prompt like, my family and I are going to the Fort Wayne Zoo. Create a 10-clue scavenger hunt that is highly decodable for us to complete when we arrive. The reason I include that decodable piece is because I typically go with someone who is an early reader, and I want them to practice those reading skills while we're out at the zoo. And so it was really fun to look at the long list of clues, and it actually, all the animals were from the Fort Wayne Zoo. Like there was nothing on the list that we couldn't do at the Fort Wayne Zoo, which was really exciting. Our local library in my school district is Carnegie Public Library in Angola. And so I wrote a prompt of a way that we could use the library in a different way before we went. So we are visiting Carnegie Public Library, and my child loves reading about dinosaurs. Give us a list of books we can look for together when we visit. That'll create just some fun to be able to check off of the list as you go through the library. And it also will help you curate a list before you even get there of books that are going to be of high interest to the person that you're taking to the library. And then the last one, sometimes summer allows us to get away a little bit. And I know Karisa's used AI to help support her family as they've planned different trips. I actually went to the Grand Canyon last year and didn't use AI, but I wish I would have because as I wrote this prompt, it came up with some really great ideas. So I wrote, my family's visiting the Grand Canyon by car, and we have 1 week to get there and back. Create a round trip plan that will engage a family with an 8 and 10-year-olds that starts in Goshen, Indiana. And it literally gave us places along the trail to get there for us to stop that would be of high interest for everyone in the family. So it was really exciting to see the output on that one. And then moving into hobbies and making the most of those, I just picked a couple of hobbies that I love. And of course, you can modify these, but I love to read in the summer, and I enjoy texts about leadership. And so I wrote that I'd like for AI to create a list of books that I can successfully read in June and July. And I only have 30 minutes per day to do it. And it gave me a list of 10 books, told me about how many pages I would need to read in that 30 minutes for each day of June and July, and how to get through about 7 books. And it created that plan for me. I then followed up with what are some discussion questions, or what are some reflection questions that I could be thinking about as I read them. And it provided me a whole list of those as well. So I thought that was really fun and an exciting way to use AI. I'm also a big motorcycle rider, which I think surprises some people. But I have a family with lots of motorcycles, and that is one way that we like to spend a lot of time together. So I wrote where I live, and I said that I have a goal of 10 day trips this summer, create a list of 10 different locations that I could visit and in one day, and what I could do in each of those spots. And it was really fun to look at that list. Some of them were like, oh, I've already done this, so I should have done 15 so I could get more options. And then the last thing is live music. I enjoy anytime I can get to a concert or live music. Fun fact about me, I've been to a live music of some kind every month for the last 4 years and 3 months. So it's a goal of mine to get to live music at least once a month. And so I created a prompt, create a list of places that offer live music within 100 miles of me. If there's an upcoming schedule of bands or artists, include those in the output. And it gave me lots of great ideas of new places that I could go and visit to see live music. So just some fun ways to use it this summer. Sandy, I'm going to turn over to you to share a couple more ways.
Jonathan, I'm joining you on your summer plan. That is so exciting, and I love the reading plan. I don't ride motorcycles, but that's very cool, and I will see you here at Deer Creek sometime. Deer Creek, forever Deer Creek if you're from Indiana, for some concerts. So super cool. And I was telling Karisa and Jonathan before we started, I just had so much fun doing this one, and I could have gone on and on and on because it's so easy and it takes so much off of your plate when you have tons of other things going on this time of year. As a teacher, as a parent, as a instructional assistant, as a school leader, all of these things, you've got just a plate full, and you have parents wanting to know, what can I do with my kid this summer? As a teacher, you're trying to think about, what can I send home with my kids to keep them learning this summer? And as an administrator, and you're just always looking at ways to provide easy tools to both teachers and parents. And so I just had a great time with this. And I went from the lens of early childhood, toddler, for both parents and as an early childhood teacher. So one of the first things I thought of was just thinking of upcoming summer travel and utilizing any sort of an AI to help plan. And I was thinking of this first one of, how do I keep a toddler learning at the beach? As a teacher, again, thinking about, I've had these kids now for an entire school year, and I want them to keep going. Being able to just even print off this slide and send it home with parents if they have the opportunity to travel this summer, being mindful that not all families get to do this. So don't ever make a family feel like they have to go on a trip to learn. But if you're going, here's an idea. As a parent, thinking about, okay, I've got to pack bags. I have to help my kiddo understand we're traveling. I've got to plan the trip. I don't have time to think about, what am I going to do with my kiddo once they get to the beach and once we get there? And I want to chill. So I was thinking about this and like, what are some of those things we can do at the beach? And I asked, and it gave me this great list of 10 things that I just thought were so fun. Sorting shells, really thinking about, what do they look like, feel like, and encouraging all levels of our early childhood learners to to learn at their levels. So some of them might just be able to do size. Maybe some of them are ready for texture. But really thinking about that and letting them feel it, describe it, and encouraging them to use different words as they're describing the way the shell feels, how it looks, depending on your learner. Sand alphabet, starting with those letters that they know and having them write them or trace them in the sand. Remembering that when they feel it, that's going to help them remember how to make those letters. So I loved that, letting them do it with their stick or a finger or their shovel or their favorite doll. A nature scavenger hunt, using AI to go ahead and create, what do I even have them look for in a scavenger hunt? But then doing it, I love the idea too of like a feather or a piece of seaweed, and then taking it even further. And what do we do with that then? Later on in the slides, I talk about using Google Lens and really taking a picture of it and then using that piece to learn even more about what is seaweed. Counting rocks and shells, easy one, letting them gather them up and count them, letting them, making sure they're touch counting along the way. Beach themed story time. You could even ask AI before you go, ask ChatGPT or Gemini, what are some beach themed books for a toddler that I could bring along in the bag? And having a story time out at the beach, get underneath the umbrella, make sure you got your sunscreen on, of course, and read that book together, and then taking it to the next level. Let's see what we see when we use our eyes from our book, and making them and using that time to talk about it. Sandcastle engineering, talking about shapes that you could use to build a sandcastle. I was just doing sink or float the other day with my little one on our walk in Geist Reservoir. What's going to sink and what's going to float? So having them pick up something from the beach and guess, is it going to sink or is it going to float? And then talk about it. Watching the waves and counting them, talking about how they sound, what it might feel like if I was a fish in the wave. What does it look like? Is it fast, slow, big? Is it white or blue or green? Thinking about the ocean. And again, always taking it further. A color hunt. What colors do you see? And then the one I love is a beach dance party. Asking Gemini or whichever AI, create me a playlist of toddler beach songs, and let's dance and move like crabs and fish and move our arms like an octopus would. So I just thought that was so fun. And the fact that I didn't have to come up with those, like, that's what this is about. Summer is about ease, but continuing that learning. And so it was so easy to do this and pull this list. Could I have thought of these things? Some of them, but not all of them. So I want to just keep thinking about that. This was a great article. And this is really for parents. Smarter Summers, How Parents Can Use AI to Prevent Summer Learning Loss. The link is there. I just pulled off a couple of things that I thought were really interesting. One of the things was thinking about using apps to create a schedule. So smart schedulers and habit trackers. If you click on that link, it'll take you to this article that explains even more about these tools. But we know how critical it is for kids to stay in some sort of schedule over the summer. That is helpful for parents over the summer, and that is helpful for teachers when kids start back again in July or August. So keeping them on that schedule, and let's make it fun. So using one of these AI apps to help create that schedule. Some other things to remember about when you are using AI this summer, and when we're helping kids prevent that learning loss, keep the schedule short and keep it with consistent sessions. It's summer. We want kids to keep learning, but we want them to have fun, and we really want it to be experiential learning. I think every teacher that you talk to will say, please don't sit down and make your kid just read a book in a chair in the house. Let them go read it on the porch. Let them read to their animals. See what you can do to bring the reading to them in some sort of different way. But we don't want them just sitting. Take them out back and let them talk about what they see, just like I was talking about. So keep it happening, but make it fun. Set your goals as a family. How much learning do we want to happen, and how much technology, how much AI are we going to use for this learning? Connect learning to life. I really liked this one. Use an AI to plan family outings, like we're talking about. Let the kids research the destinations. Let the kids create the lists, and having them collaborate and talk about stories and games. And then number one to me is making sure we're prioritizing our well-being. Especially as teachers and we're sending kids off for the summer, that one thing, and I always like to remind teachers about, is remember that summer is not always happy and sunshiny and as fun as it is for all of us. So really making sure we're keeping track of our kiddos over the summer, and as parents that we're monitoring that. So using some AI mood trackers to make sure our kiddos are feeling okay, to let them talk about what they're feeling, how they're feeling, stress or isolation, because they're away from their friends for a few months. And so it's really important to do that, as well as a teacher, or if you are somebody who's really connected to your kiddos at school, introduce this to the kids now and say, if you need me this summer, feel free to send me an email. Now we want to take a break as teachers, but know that some kids really need to know that you're still there. So that's just some things I pulled out from this article. Definitely check it out. And Jonathan, I'm going to go to the last one that I had so much fun doing, a yes day. As a parent, again, keeping that learning going over the summer and maybe making it fun and having a summer yes day. So for those of you that may not know, a yes day, as terrifying as it sounds, is saying yes to whatever your kid puts in front of you. Well, this is great because it is letting you kind of structure that a little bit more. And it's really thinking about that preschool age kiddo. Again, as teachers, we could send this home to parents. Just say, here's an idea for a way for you to engage with your kiddo this summer. So the first thing I did was ask Gemini, what are some apps I can use to plan this summer yes day? So I really liked these apps that they talked about, and it's all about to structure the day and letting them pick from, and this was the key, pre-approved options. So I am not going to be letting my kiddo, send me on an airplane to Hawaii, which is the first thing my 3-year-old would tell me she wanted to do, and ride a shark. This is a pre-approved option. So with Pineapple, it is a trip planner that you can organize the locations, and great for that itinerary. Trello, letting them make their vision boards, doing it with them so that you can say, okay, here are some things that you're saying. From these things you're saying, these are things that we can do. And then Cozy to plan the day, and then set the reminders for the kiddos so they're even thinking about time, using the calendar, days of the week, all of those different pieces. And then Jonathan, if you would go to the next one. This would be then using the apps to remember this special day. So you're taking the time to do this with your kid. Let's use this special day. So the first one, 1 second every day. If you have not used this, I absolutely love this app. You can use a picture or it can do a short video. And you could do one picture from every location from your yes day, or if you're doing a yes week for 1 hour a day, taking that picture. And then it creates it into a great little video. Tiny Bean is a photo journaling app that they can take pictures, and then the parent can track kind of what's happening for that day. So even though it's like milestones and memories, you could really use it for this. And obviously the one that we love a lot is Canva. So letting the kids create their own yes day memory book where they are using words that they know. Again, you're doing this with the kiddo because we're talking about toddlers, preschool age, even kindergarten kids, but really making it a social conversation between you and your kiddo, and having this great memory book at the end of your fun yes day that they could then even share with their teacher at the beginning of the school year the next year. Another reminder, don't forget you could use Apple Notes and Google Keep along the way to create that checklist with emojis so that they can really visually see how they're feeling and kind of where they're at. And then use Google Lens along the way too, to take pictures of the trees or the plants or the bugs that you see and learn more. So that's my ideas for the Summer Yes Day, all created through AI. Karisa, Jonathan, and I, we just wanted to thank you so much for joining us through this season 2 of our Teacher Fuel playlist. We have had such a great time talking about all things AI and how we can support every aspect of a learner, be sure to scan the QR code for some goodies from Magic School if you fill out the questionnaire, and let us know how we're doing. And then make sure you follow Jonathan, follow me, and follow Karisa on Instagram by scanning those, or on our social media by scanning those QR codes. Make sure you're following Keep Indiana Learning on all of your social media platforms for so many more great ideas. And again, we just thank you so much. Teachers, you rocked it this year. You did amazing, and make sure you take time for yourself this summer. Administrators, all school staff, congratulations on a great year. Parents, you made it through the school year, and we look forward to learning about how you are continuing to support your kiddo through the summer with engaging, fun, and exciting learning opportunities. So thank you, and we'll see you in the fall. Bye.